Hey guys, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell video to share with you today. So I'm playing in the Case the Sketch Challenge, and this week's challenge is about using large sentiments. So as soon as I saw that the challenge was large sentiments, I thought of this ridiculously awesome stamp set which I had just gotten last week in an order. And it's got some pretty large sentiments, right? Now, I'd seen really cute stuff made with it, and I thought, okay, it's one of those that I can probably use on some fun cards, right? But I was like, but how am I going to use it? So then when I saw this challenge, I thought, we're just going to take it out and we're going to use it. Well, I ended up using Blossoms in Bloom, which I had also gotten a few months ago and had not used yet, and I thought, I want to put the two together. So I made this really fun, bright, cheery sunshine card, and it's really simple. It's just stamps, ink, and paper, so we call that a SIP card, and I'm going to show you how I put it together. Okay, so I actually am using my Stamparatus today, which I know I don't use often, but I thought I would use it for this. Two reasons. One, the image for Blossoms in Bloom is large, and sometimes, even though I have the large blocks, sometimes it's hard to get a nice even press on it. Now it's photopolymer, so I can see through if I need to stamp it again. But the nice thing about the Stamparatus is that if I need to stamp again, it's not moved. I can just stamp it again. So we're going to go ahead and make the card on the Stamparatus today. So I'm going to show you how I set the whole thing up. Okay, first I'm using shimmer white cardstock. Why shimmer white? Because I decided I was going to do a single layer card, and I wanted it to have a little extra sparkle. So I'm setting mine up so that I'm using like a whole block of this grid paper on there, kind of as a gauge, so I could put another one down and do it again and again and again. Before I do that, I'm going to show you that I have the mat, okay, that comes with the Stamparatus set in here, because it's the photopolymer, so the photopolymer are not backed on, oh, did you see that? Let's talk about that in a minute. They're not backed on rubber, so by putting this mat in, it creates that extra cushion for stamping. Then I have my grid mat, which is specially cut and designed for the Stamparatus. Now I have my cardstock. So I'm going to put my cardstock, like I said, I'm stamping in one whole section so that I can line up another card and do another one easily right there. Now, did you see that? It came right off the table and pulled into my hand. These are super strong earth magnets, and if they touch each other, well, not just touch each other, but if they slam into each other, just saw how it pulled off the table, they will break, which is why this one's taped off with washi tape, because this one broke. So you want to keep them apart, okay? You don't want them together. Even between my hands, my two hands, I can feel the pull on those. So they're really strong. Now, there's spaces on the back of these to keep them separate, okay? We are going to use both. I'm going to put one up here in the corner just to keep that down, so if I have to stamp it twice, which I'm guessing I'm going to, it's not going to pull the paper up, everything's going to stay put. I'm going to put the other one down here, okay, far away. Now, let's go ahead and put our flowers on. So this is my half of my card, so I'm just going to fill this space with my stamp. So I just set it down, okay, that's placement. That's how I want it to fill my card. Then I take my arm, right, my clear arm, and I pull it up and I just press it down, and that puts the stamp onto my plate. Okay, now this will just, there's a little pull, this will just pull up and go there. Okay, so now I can just re-straighten this. Now I know my stamp stops here, so I can put this in a little bit closer to really adhere it down. Okay, and the magnets are not going to interfere with my stamp because they are not any wider, thicker than my stamp is. Okay, so I'm going to stamp the flowers in Daffodil Delight. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down for a second. So when I ink it up, I'm just taking my whole ink pad and I'm going to press it this way to my stamp. Now, when you do that, you might get some ink on the plate. The plate's not going to touch your cardstock, so that's okay. But if you're really a neat freak, right? Nothing wrong with that. You can just use a chamois and just kind of wipe that excess ink off. if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to slide that back up so you can see as I stamp it. Okay, so I've inked it. I'm bringing it down. Now remember, my magnets aren't going to interfere. I can even just drop it, right? I just dropped it. Now, I do want to give it a little press, right? Just if you had a stamp on a block, you would give it a press. This is a very large stamp, which is why I use this. I'm just going to make sure that I give it a press kind of all over. Now I'm going to lift this up and take a look. That's pretty good. That's better than the first time I did it. Maybe I just need to use my stamp apparatus more. If you wanted more ink or if something was missing, you could just ink it up again and you just stamp it again. Press it down again. So really, really simple. Now, I am going to use Mango Melody as my second color. So let me get this one open. And then I have from my stamp set these smaller flowers, and I'm going to stamp the centers. Okay? So I'm not really worried about positioning here, so I'm just going to kind of freehand these in, just kind of filling in some centers. I'm going to do some of the big ones and some of the little bit smaller ones. Okay, and then I'm going to come back with my kind of like the multi-circle one, and I'm going to do the centers. Just kind of fill in with color. Simple stamping, right? Oop, I missed a little. Just go back and do it again. All right, simple stamping, right? Just ink, stamps, and paper. Okay, so now from my ridiculously awesome set, I'm using You Are My Sunshine because this is bright and cheery. So that's what I want to use. So I'm going to use my memento. I'm going to ink up my sentiment. Now, you can see the sentiments are our cling stamps, where these are our photopolymer. Remember I put that pad underneath my scrap mat because it was photopolymer? If you put your rubber backed stamps on your stamp apparatus, you don't need that extra pad in there. Okay, but I'm just going to stamp this freehand, and I'm just going right over the top, press and lift. There we go. So I've got my card, I've got my sentiment. I'm happy with it just the way it is. So I'm going to pull these magnets apart, right, not together. Now if you want to, I can fill in around a little bit too. I think I'm going to do it with the daffodil. So I'm just going to take that center, that multi-dot center, and I'm just going to fill in some of this blank space around. There's our card. Quick and simple. So the Case the Sketch Challenge inspired the card, and we're going to do a whole week of large sentiment cards here on the blog in a couple of weeks. So this is going to be great for our mystery case. All right, everybody. Remember to join me every day for a blog post. I share different projects, tips, and tricks. And you can join me on my YouTube channel, Pumpkin Hill Stampers. And you can visit my card store online or my tutorial library online, which are both at my website, easy to find. And I'll see you again real soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Do some fun stamping. Bye-bye.